This is the Richard Mille 1103. With a price tag of 200,000 euros, it is one of the most expensive currently released chronographs, but what's even crazy is that people still are more than willing to pay extra for this watch. So why the heck is this watch so expensive, and more importantly, why are people willing to pay so much for it to begin with? So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 3 reasons for Richard Mille's rapid success, so let's get started. Before we get into this video, I wanted to say a big thank you to Willy Rothfuss, who lent me the watch for this video today. Willy Rothfuss is one of the biggest pre-owned and vintage watch sellers here in the Stuttgart area, and you can find the link to his online shop on the website in the description box below. It is also where you can buy the RM that I'm showing you in this video, of course. People claim, and rightfully so, that your typical RM watch looks like something out of a gumball machine. But as the saying goes, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and especially not this one. Because Richard Mille, which was founded by 2 very good friends in 2001, which is not even 20 years ago, is casually pulling all sorts of mechanical watch-related world records out of their sleeves. But where exactly do they get their technical know-how from? Well, the 2 friends, Richard Mille and Dominique Guénin, have met through their work in the watch industry. Both were and still are obsessed with motorsports, aviation, so real technology geeks, and so the underlying theme of precision and high-end engineering in their hobbies would ultimately lay the foundation of their watch manufactory. So it does not come as a surprise that the first RM watch turned out to be a chronograph. The watch I am showing you today is also a flyback chronograph that has been created in cooperation with the McLaren racing team. For years, both friends worked tirelessly on their concepts. Prototypes have been rigorously tested until, and in collaboration with Audemars Piguet, they have launched their Richard Mille watch brand. Just 1 year after the manufacturer's foundation, RM released a true novelty. The RM002 was the first watch with a titanium base plate, a material that is also used in aerospace, which also leads to the RM2703 tourbillon being able to withstand forces up to 10,000 G due to its titanium base plate. And just to compare, a fighter jet pilot has to endure 9 G within its jet. Additionally, RM has also built one of the most precise watches in the world, the RM031, with an accuracy of plus/minus 20 seconds, but obviously not per day, but, and brace yourself for this one, per month. And if that wasn't enough, they have also released one of the lightest wristwatches with a tourbillon weighing only 48 grams. That is like half of your chocolate bar. This is all made possible by the Richard Mille group. So Richard Mille has all their different departments united under one Richard Mille group roof. That way they can keep the entire production line within the brand, so they can make sure every last detail, every tiny piece of gear wheel or screw is exactly how they want it to be. And that is also where we find the explanation for the insanely high prices for their watches. Richard Mille designs and produces not only their own concepts, but they also have to develop the tools to even do so. Think of it that way. For every little RM screw, they not only have to build the machines that make those screws, they also have to develop the tools, build those, and then work with those tools on the screws themselves. So basically, RM is playing the watch game on the ultra expert level. And so this high level of specification is what leads us to reason number 2 as to why Richard Mille watches are so expensive. Everyone here who has ever tried to assemble any piece of furniture from IKEA knows what's up. You buy it, you get the instruction manual and all the tools you need, and you can see how it basically works with every item you get. The approach is the same, and everything comes together quite quickly. But now imagine you would not only have to chop your own wood for your new closet, you would also have to manufacture the screws and pegs and even build your own screwdriver from scratch. That is basically what the Richard Mille team does with every new watch. Because of the high-end technology and the exceptional mechanical concepts and complication, it takes a whole lot more time than usual to actually put together the watch. definitely more time than other mass-produced watches such as Rolex, for example. I mean, even in this RM 1103, we can find an overwhelming amount of technical finesse like the double spring barrel system, a free-sprung balance with 4 adaptable weights which ensures the ultimate shock resistance, and of course we have a day and a month complication on top of it. RM stated that after years of development and improving, they would be able to increase their output. And according to another release statement of RM, they plan to put out 4,600 watches in 2018. In 2017, for each RM watch, there were approximately 3 people who wanted to buy it, and everyone knows that shortage, artificial or not, pretty much every time leads to an increase in demand. I mean, you can see the same thing happening even with way less expensive watches. I mean, Rolex almost looks like peanuts compared to this RM, but because of their high demand and low supply, we have been watching the grey market prices skyrocket for months and months now. And even the Timex Pepsi reissue, a 180 euro quartz watch, it was temporarily selling for double the price on the market after quickly selling out in 2019. How come that we all talk about a watch manufacturer that has a yearly output of only 5,000 watches that are basically too expensive for 99.9% of the population? Well, I think most of you are with me on this one. Before filming this video, I have never held and not to mention even seen a RM watch in real life. But what I have seen are RM watches on the wrists of super famous people like musicians, but mostly athletes like tennis player Rafael Nadal or the race car driver Fernando Alonso, and even on one of my favorite actors as well, which is Jackie Chan. And I totally recommend reading his autobiography, it's a really good one. But I'm pretty sure that this type of marketing does sound familiar to you. We have pretty much all seen one of the most popular brands doing the exact same thing. Rolex has been working with brand ambassadors for decades, always making sure to showcase their watches on the wrists of the most outstanding people in their respective fields. But the problem with Rolex is that not only more watches are circulating around, which obviously means that more people are able to wear them, but also that a Rolex watch isn't what it used to be. It doesn't matter if you think that's a good or bad thing, but a 10,000 euro Rolex is something you can still somehow afford. You know, you can loan the money, you can lend it from someone, even though I do not recommend doing that. Please don't do that. Which means that in terms of status, as bad as this may sound, a Rolex doesn't really say much. Those watches have become more and more part of this whole entire flex culture. And if you want to take it to the extreme, you could go for a Patek Philippe without actually having to have millions and millions in your bank account. But RM really puts everything on a whole nother level. Right now, those watches are above the flex. They're like the father of flex, so to say, because when you actually own one, it means that you are dead serious on spending a ridiculous amount of money on watches. And you're either extremely rich or extremely stupid that you spend so much money on a watch, depending on if you have that money or you don't. And simultaneously, you're not only showing off your wealth, but also making sure that you are wearing the most exclusive watch, no matter where you are and where you go. So I do get this question quite a lot, and I do ask myself that quite often as well. Is the hype around Richard Mille and its price really justified? Well, let's summarize real quick what we have learned about RM in the past couple of minutes. First, Richard Mille is watchmaking at its finest. Not only are those one of the most accurate watches, but also one of the most durable. You can play tennis, you can play golf, etc. So something which would be a death sentence for most mechanical watches is merely a warm-up for RM watches. Secondly, this high level of watchmaking is only made possible by the extremely complex production line in which basically every little piece is made individually for that watch, even down to the last tiny screw, which also means that it's not even physically possible to increase the output. So the supply remains low, and we know how that goes. Last but not least, a Richard Mille is the ultimate status symbol right now, and one of the few watches you can own which ensures that you're almost always going to be the only one in a room with that watch, and everybody else will probably know how much you've spent on it, given that you are in a room with people who know a thing or two about watches, of course. As there are so few watches out there and pretty much no one is able to afford them. So the first 2 points are probably what you would tell people when you try to explain why anyone would actually spend that much money on a watch. But I think that it is the last point that I have made that justifies the price on a RM watch and pretty much any other watch in general. Because first and foremost, Richard Mille is selling a feeling and not a watch. The feeling that you're special and even something exceptional and more exclusive. Not even a Patek or Rolex can compete on that level. And so right now, more people are willing to pay for that than watches are available. The hype constantly feeds itself and is kind of like an upward spiral, and so I would say that the price and the hype is justified for now. In a free market economy, a product sells for the price the market is willing to pay. It's that simple. But now the question remains how long that is going to last and whether or not RM strategy is a sustainable one. So what do you think? Is this just a temporary hype, or is RM going to stay where it's at? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say. As always, thank you so much for watching this video and spending some time with me. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.